Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Thursday, November 3rd, 2022 by Gaia Blooming. I am Mimi and our energy mantra for today is healing happens when I get intimate with my part in repeating patterns. And we've got a mahalo here. We've got a wolf behind me. We've got repeating patterns. I was looking at the astro for the next few days as we lead up to the eclipse. And like I mentioned, how Venus has been kind of going through random assaultment of planets. First, the sun's going to come through and do that, and then Mercury right after. And so we're going to be having these repeating connections happening over the next few days. Wolf is enamored by light. Repeating patterns over the next few days. We get a little bit of a break, and then here they come. But especially as part of these energies are the connection to the South Node. Bye. This is a really good time to start noticing what repeating patterns are surfacing. You know what? Sometimes we can be saying, I thought I worked on that. I thought I did that thing. I thought I worked my way through it. Yeah, you did. And here's the next layer of this onion. I feel like so many of the things that we move through are so beyond this life. I think a lot of these things that we work through are ancestral patterns. I think they are past life patterns. And there are many layers to these onions, especially right now with this astro energy. So your work is first noticing, like, oh, here's this pattern that I've been through. And then it's getting present with the pattern. Because I know there's patterns in my life that I'm like, in my lives, all of the lives, that I'm just like, I don't know where this comes from. And I think we know when we need to know, right? But sometimes part of the knowing is getting quiet and listening. And the astro is primed for that right now. Between the moon, Neptune, Jupiter, all in Pisces, Mercury, the sun, and Venus in Scorpio, our intuition is strong. The veil is thin, right? Like this time of year, like that's one of the cliched sayings, right? But it's really true. Like Scorpio does thin the veil. And part of the veil thinning is just being able to be present and listen. So even if you don't get the answer, you may get your next step that you are being called to take in this energy. And if you don't get it today, like I said, here comes the sun's passing over these energy, and then Mercury, and then eclipse. So hooray. Now, I mentioned Venus has been getting assaulted. Astrologically, we get a little bit of a Venus break with the only connection today with Venus being with the moon in Pisces. In fact, all of our strong connections today are lunar, with the moon connecting to Mercury, the sun, and Venus, so bringing up that Scorpio energy, and then a connection with Uranus later in the day. So we may feel some of that lazy cat with the moon in Pisces, Uranus and Taurus. Anytime we have that Taurus-Pisces connection, I feel that lazy cat energy. But besides that, this energy today is super, super watery. Oh my gosh, and I didn't even look at the cards. The cards, I feel like I'm having Groundhog Day with these cards too. The adventure card. The adventure card is always a Scorpio card to me, because it really does, to me, imply going to those deep places and finding solution, finding the light, working through it, going on that adventure. And through that, we're getting beyond whatever the illusion is in these patternings that we have been carrying. We're going to bring some awareness. So we have the awareness card in reverse. There's two things that come up with this awareness card in reverse for me. One is like today's not going to be super like forward movement gusto kind of energy. Feels a little bit slower, pulled back. And I think my mom used to say this poem, the fog creeps in on little cat's feet. That's what I'm like seeing, like your knowing is creeping in on little cat feet. So that you can cultivate some awareness around, again, what are these repeating patterns? Again, your intuition is your best friend. Your emotions can help understand like your processing of them, but they might not necessarily point to like what that root is. And I think that's such a beautiful part of Scorpio energy, is digging into the roots and pulling up the roots. There's a Talking Head song that Joe loves called Pulling Up the Roots that just popped into my head with that. So, and I love this card too. So a lot of times when we have those repeating patterns come up, we're like, this again, not you again. I don't want to go there again, blah, 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 right? And the Ordinariness card is like, oh, well, you've missed a whole big portion of the gifts that are actually enclosed in your going there again. So maybe that's part of the ahas creeping in, is like, oh, here is how this is benefiting me. Here, this is how this is actually helping me. Here, this is how I can actually utilize this to help me. Final card is the shoulds card, morality in reverse. So watch for where you're shoulding yourself, and the shoulding energy, the shouldy energy may actually be part of the repeating pattern as well. So be aware of where somebody else has shoulded on you, or where you may have shoulded on yourself. I'm 5. Around this energy, because that may help. Besides that, just like I said, super strong emotional and intuitive energy going on today, but it's potent. So I'm going to leave that here for today. You can book a reading with me. Email me, mimiclark@gmail.com. Besides that, the better it gets, the better it gets. There's more than enough love in the world for you. You have the power, and honor your values. Namaste.